Okay, what's up, hustlers? Today's guest is Miss Nicole Reynolds. She is a producer and host for News 3 Las Vegas, host of Local Living, recent Emmy recipient. So, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I know, right? You and your
Me and
golden
my
friend
golden
here.
friend.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. And how recently did you win your first Emmy?
Thank you. June.
June.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a few months ago. So, I mean, you've been in journalism for quite some time. We're going to get into all of that, but this was a big, stepping stone for sure in your career. Huge accomplishment. So, what did it really mean to you to win this award?
Well, it took 8 years.
Yeah.
And as far as journalism goes, I've worked so many different positions in the building. And I think there's some positions you think you'll win one more than others. I didn't think it'd be producing.
Yeah.
I thought it would be when I was a director. But all in the universe's timing, all in God's timing. But I mean, it's cool. It's cool to have. It's cool to say. Nice little thing to display. I think, especially when you grow up and you kind of only win participation trophies, to like actually have something that you've earned.
Something you really won.
Yeah. And not everyone gets them. So
Yeah, definitely.
definitely an honor. And then I won it alongside some of my best friends. So that's cool too, to be able to say we did it together.
That's awesome. And so when you get an Emmy, is it for a particular production that you put on?
Yeah, so they have different categories. This one was in is newscast, morning or daytime.
Okay.
So it was for our noon newscast during the NFL draft.
Okay.
So we kind of did a whole mini draft special in our show. And so that was cool too, to be able to win it on something that was so new to Vegas. It was our first one. I'm sure we're going to get more, but we were building something that we didn't even know what we were building. So
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to have it be recognized. And you're recognized by your peers too across the country, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome. And it's something that I'm sure you put in a lot of effort into every single production that you're working on. But did you know that this was the big one that you might win an Emmy for?
I think so. Like, we kind of all walked out of that show and we were like, you know what, we should save it.
Yeah.
Like, let's save it, let's submit it and see what happens, see where it goes. Some shows you just leave the show and you're like, well, that was a newscast.
Yeah.
That was a Monday, Tuesday,
Box
whatever.
checked. Yeah.
But sometimes you do get to do special things and you get to formulate it a little different and have a little more fun and creativity than your standard newscast. So that one we definitely walked out and we're like, okay, save it and send it. And if it happens, it happens. But you're in a category with so many different, people who have also had that same feeling when they left that newscast. So to let it be us, it's like,
That's awesome.
we really did it.
Well, you've been in journalism for 8 years now, right? Okay. So what got you into journalism?
I like the sound of my own voice. I know that's, but it's funny because I didn't used to like to talk. Even my mom, when I told her I was going into journalism, she's like, you don't even talk. Like, how are you going to do this? And I wanted to do behind the scenes stuff. So I wanted to direct. I wanted to do the switcher boards and all of that. And that's the route that I took. So when I went into school at UNLV, it was to do all the behind the scenes stuff. When I graduated, that's what I got my job at News 3 I was on the floor crew, moving the cameras around, floor directing, prompting, and then I eventually became a director. And then I'm the type who doesn't like to be complacent. So then I just started learning new things, and I think that's when I realized I do like to be organized. I like to talk. I do. And now my mom's like, I can't get you to be quiet. But I don't think I always knew I wanted to go into journalism, but once I like to write also. So once I kind of got the feel of that, I was like, okay, this is where we're going with it. I also don't like math and science. I'm really bad with numbers and history. So it's the natural progression of things.
Yeah. Well, you don't always know, when you're picking, when you're like 18 and you're picking what you want to do, you don't always know, but to found something that you've really stuck with and grown even more passionate about and that you're happy with still, that's pretty awesome. Not a lot of people can say that. So do you think you'll stay doing news in the kind of traditional route of doing news that you're doing it now?
No, but I mean, just like everything, just as the world changes, journalism's changed. When I first started, we had we weren't automated on the floor. And within the few months of me being there, we got robotic cameras and things like that. And so you just naturally have to progress with everything. And now everything's so digital.
Yeah.
People, I don't think, are watching news on TVs the same way as they used to. But it allows you to be more creative in the way you tell a story, which is kind of nice, in different formats and the different people that you talk to and trying to narrow, so I don't think it'll be in the same traditional format, but I like that I've been able to have the opportunity to tell stories in a different way and test it out and see what sticks and things like that.
That's nice. Well, I mean, you think if there's news, something big happens in our life, what do people do? Well, you could check social media, you could turn on the news, you could Google search it. Those would be kind of, I think, the three things I would go to right there. So how do you think the news kind of differs from what you can get just searching something on social media or just Google searching it?
Well, pretty much we've done the work for you, right? In fact checking, in theory, you would hope. And not everyone, you have your bloggers, you have your vloggers, you have your rumor ads and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like news goes, I know the whole fake news things came up, right? But being in that newsroom and knowing how we've done all the background research for you, we've gotten the reports and we're hearing your tip lines come in and all this kind of stuff. So we've kind of gone out, we've done the hard part for you in validating what you're hearing. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be word of mouth. And that's how we get a lot of news too, is just viewers out and about and they'll be like, hey, I just saw this happening. Hey, help us out, hear us out type of thing. So I think that's the way it's going to go.
Well, I'm sure you've told a lot of different stories over your time in news. So what have been some of the favorite stories that you've gotten to tell?
So with me, I work in a little different capacity than most other producers. I get to have a lot more fun, which is nice. So I really get to highlight people and what they're doing in our community. And I like to find people who are doing things in our community. They just have these like amazing stories. And I think Vegas is full of stories. And it's a 24/7 town, so the stories never stop.
True.
And just the businesses that people launch, that's the cool part. But favorite stories, man, we've had so many. And one of the most recent ones was we had this female pilot come on. Just even like how she got into it. Or I had one of the Monster Jam drivers and she's the woman and I was like, and then I went to go watch Monster Jam and I was like, I don't know how you're doing this. Like, how are you doing that? So yeah, those would be my favorite stories. I don't think I have a specific favorite one.
Yeah.
But being able to tell, hear how someone got to where they are and it not be the course that they thought they were going to take, but falling in love with what they do, I think is the best.
Nice. Yeah. It gives people hope out there for sure. And you do a lot with highlighting small businesses, right? Okay. Awesome. And so when you do that and you highlight someone's small business, what does that really do for you? I mean, just you as in the news, doing the news, how do you really find that fulfilling?
Because it's like, I work with a lot of PR companies who, their clients are big clients who can afford to pay somebody to do it, which is great. And I think that's where everyone wants to be, right?
Yeah.
But the small businesses, the ones who may not be able to afford that kind of advertising, to even just be able to say, hey, I have this small business, I'm trying to do this. And some of them, they're like these people with amazing stories who've like spent their whole life perfecting their craft. They just haven't been able to have the same platform that some other businesses had. So be able to have them come on and talk about what they do. It's like showcasing their life work. And there's also something so novel about being on TV. And to like say, like, I was on TV, did you see it? Even now, and like with my dad just being on TV, it's like, this is my daughter on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
you were telling me that your dad likes to tell everybody that you're an Emmy Award winner at the supermarket. And whenever he meets people.
I'd like to say they're subtle brags, but my dad's totally just like, this is my daughter, she's won an Emmy. This is my daughter, this is what she does, which is, it's cool. I mean, you always want to make your parents proud. So I got that going for me.
That's pretty awesome. I'm really glad we were able to get you to bring it with you today. But you were talking about how it's really difficult to bring up accomplishments like that sometimes, because we don't really, like you said, as adults, I mean, I guess it depends on the career, but most careers are not really giving out awards
that or physical
regularly.
awards too.
So that's got to be a really cool feeling.
Table for two, please.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about, I mean, you're also a mom,
yes.
correct? Yeah. How old is your child?
She'll be 4 in October.
4 years old.
Yeah.
Nice. So you had her while you've been working on your career and building your career. So how did that change things? You're about 4 years into building your career.
Yeah,
sure.
Actually, I just switched into producing. Literally, I got the job as booking producer. And a month later, I was like, hey, boss, I'm going to have to take 3 months off in 9 months from now because I'm pregnant. But it also it helped me see the world differently. Like now I understand, it opened up another door of something that I didn't understand before. Sure. Like different topics that we could talk about. Yeah. Whether it be mental health or whether it be what a new mom needs, what a new father needs, things like that. Things kids need. So it actually helped for the better. Now I can see things, and my daughter's mixed. So even just from a cultural standpoint, I get to understand different cultures a little better and kind of bring those on and in the mix. So it helped in that way. The way it did not was I lost a lot of sleep. Yeah. And it's a new balancing act of trying to, because journalism is 24/7. No matter what aspect of that you're in, you're constantly thinking news. So it's being able to turn that off and still spend time and enjoy being a mom while telling the world stories, really.
Sure. Well, how do you do that? How do you balance your time as a mom with your time that you're putting into your career?
Fight or flight, really. I think when it comes down to it, when you have no choice, you kind of just get forced into doing it, and you find a method that works and a routine that works. And for me, it's 7 different calendars, one for different aspects of things. Yeah. But it took some time. And every year of her life is different. So that also takes adjustments into how you're going to work that into your career. But I think being able to do what I've done while having her, it's so gratifying for me. I just feel so much more well-rounded as a person. It almost helps me do better than the opposite.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what would you say it means to you to be a good mother? What is that? What's your definition of a good mother?
Oh, man. Well, it means everything to be a mom. I wanted to be a mom for so long. And there was a point in my life where I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be a mom. My mom was like, Nicole, you're 25. You have your whole life to be a mom. Chill out. And then I did end up getting pregnant with my daughter. And, it hasn't been easy. Being a single mom is not easy. But I also I'm a single mom with a support from her father, but to see other single moms do it, I don't know how they do it. But to be a good mom, it is giving. It's all time. I don't ever want my daughter to think oh, my mom wasn't there for me, or she was so consumed with work. Even right now, I know she doesn't understand that. Yeah. But she's slowly starting to, because she'll see the little peacock logo on TV. She'll be, Mom, that's your work job. That's your work job. Or she'll see me on TV and be like, that looks like you. And I'm like, it is me.
Yeah, that is me.
Yeah. But it's just the time. It's sacrificing, the time and the effort. Sometimes I will give up being able to go to a really cool event to be home with my daughter. But it's not I'm going to miss out on anything because this is where I want to be. And I think that's the most important, is setting aside and allowing yourself to not be consumed with work for even just a second. To, I don't know, play Paw Patrol with her, or she likes slime, or she has these temporary tattoos that she wants to put where I have my temporary tattoo. You know what I mean? So we can be twins. That's what's most important. I think that's what makes good moms, and good dads is going to be the time, the effort that you put into them, because that's what they're going to remember.
That's awesome. Does she ever see you on TV?
She does. Yeah. And that's how she actually learned my full name. Really? So sometimes she'll introduce me to people. This is my mom, Nicole Reynolds. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So it is kind of cute. This is my
mother, Nicole Reynolds, yes, the host Emmy recipient.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to tell people about my Emmy. I'm going to have her do it for me.
That's true. You could definitely task her with that. That's awesome. Well, you talked to us a little bit before about how, with doing everything that you're doing between work and being a mom, you really feel like you thrive in that sort of chaos and thrive on having a full plate and not really having too much free time.
Yeah.
A lot of people say the opposite, and they're like, oh, you've got to have you time and all of that stuff. So how do you fit that in? Or tell us a little bit about thriving in the chaos.
Well, for example, I just went home for what was supposed to be vacation.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I think I'm so used to like go, that when I was sitting down for more than just half an hour, I'd be like, all right, let's go check some emails. Like, I got to do something, like anything, whatever that is. You time is very important. And I think I've slowly started to learn the value of that. So I won't knock that. But I just like to do things. I want to do everything. And like I said, I don't like being complacent. I don't like being bored and content. So regardless of what that is, I'm a workaholic. I love to work. I really do. But I like that I've found a job that's fun.
Yeah.
And so work doesn't feel like work. And I get to take my daughter along to do things too. I'll bring her to work with me. She sat on the anchor desk before and she has a good time. She's done segments, introduced our puppies to the world. Like, yeah. So it's nice to be able to combine the two sometimes. And have her be a part of my career, really.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know what you mean, though. I mean, when I'm in a really busy period, it sounds like I'll think about having a day off to like relax and lay on the couch with my dogs. And it sounds nice at that point. But then when it comes around and I'm actually just doing nothing, it's like, this doesn't feel productive, you know?
And in the back of your mind, you're thinking about things anyway. Yeah. So you may as well just do them.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do like to take a nap to avoid things sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's my free time. That's my me time. It's my nap time.
Nice little nap. Good.
More like sleeps. Midday sleeps is what I call them.
Midday sleeps. Nice. Very cool. Well, we talked a little bit about different forms of media. So do you plan on staying in TV journalism? Is there anything you've kind of got your eye on in the future?
I definitely think I'm going to stay in TV for a little bit longer, as long as the company allows me to be. I love it. I love what I do. And it's hard to give that up. I've thought about moving around again in the building. And, I've fallen in love with my job. I've fallen in love with the people I work with the city as a whole, and being able to tell their stories. I don't think I could do anything else but this, at least for now. But you always have to think forward, right? Because news changes. I mean, even just the way we consume news changes. So you kind of got to change with the times too. So whatever's out there, as long as I'm telling somebody's story, and that's why it's weird to sit here and tell mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to telling everybody else's.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit about your signature sign-off that you've been working on, right?
I know. I actually had to think about it, but then I realized I do the same thing every time I say bye.
So if the show ends and I just made my final point and you're going to sign off, what does that look like?
I go, thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasure having you. And thank you everyone at home for watching Local Living. We'll see you next time. And I do this thing where I go, I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
I sit into it.
You kind of like almost mic drop a little bit. Okay.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. All right. Well, I'll have to work on mine. Maybe we can get everybody out there to rate my signature sign off.
Put a couple and have us vote on it.
Okay. We can do that for sure. Well, I've loved learning a lot about you. What are some of the hobbies you do in your free time? You've got to do something when you're not busy.
I do like listening to music, so anything. I like going to concerts, and even concerts of like people that I don't listen to. I like to go to, just because you never know.
Just enjoy the vibe.
Yeah, you may know one song and then you end up falling in love with that artist. And the city is so perfect for that. Yeah. There's someone coming through here all the time. So anything to do with music, I love to do. I wish I could say I go to the beach all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't because there's no water here.
go over to Lake Mead.
Go over to Lake Mead, which is filling up now, by the way, I guess. Nice. But that was my big thing at home, was I love to go to the beach. Anything with water, it just centers me, I think, and it like brings me back. But yeah.
You ever see yourself going back home to Hawaii?
As long as my parents don't see this, no. Because my parents want me to come back so bad. I don't see myself going back home. I adore being out here. To visit, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. But this is my new home. I've made a home with, my own family now, which is nice. So
that's awesome. Well, and, we were talking a little earlier about small businesses, and you mentioned that that's one of the biggest things that you enjoy is helping promote small businesses. So is that something you guys do regularly?
Yeah, that's literally my whole job, is promoting small businesses, promoting people and their stories and things like that. And I think that part of that came from being in Hawaii, because everything in Hawaii is small business, right?
Yeah.
And that built a whole island, and now it's what builds this city, especially after the pandemic and all of that. I think that's what's really thrived. So, yeah.
Are you guys actively looking for other small businesses to feature here in Vegas?
Mm-hmm. And I want to do all of them. If I had the time, I would feature literally all of them. But email, if you have one, just email me.
Nice. And so any kind of small business, we're talking restaurants.
Yeah, literally anything. What we do is, or what I like to do is, I'll formulate a segment with you. That way it's not just like, look at my business type of thing. I want viewers to be able to take something away from you, not just like, oh, here's a great restaurant, but maybe something they can do at home. But obviously, if they don't want to do it at home, then we just come see you. Like, you're the expert. But I want viewers to be able to go home with something as well, besides just...
So like if it's a restaurant, rather than just showing the menu of the restaurant, it's like, why don't we do like a demo on one of our best dishes or something?
Yeah,
like
something easy that you can make at home with all the things you have. Or like if it's a yoga studio, here's a couple easy at-home things that you can do. Just little things like that. It gives people something to like, hey, I learned this from this business. And even if they've never been, the business's name is still out there,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best way? Is it for them to email you or follow you?
Best way is email. Can I do the thing?
You can do the thing.
Just contact this email. And Reynolds at sbgtv.com.
So for the first time ever on Hustle Habits, we will have the popping below the line, whatever you call that.
I know, it'd be fun. Well, I mean, I do it all the time for people to be like, hey, how can I get in contact with you? And they're like, just call the number below your screen.
So if you'd like to get in touch with Nicole Reynolds, just call the number below on the screen here.
Or follow me on social media too.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Of course,
and
thanks for
good luck
having me.
in the best of your career.
Same to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you.